Welcome to Balanced Life with Debi Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debi Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debi Carlin Boyle.
Hi, welcome. Another beautiful Tuesday afternoon, and we have a great show for you today. I'm Debi Carlin Boyle. These are conversations that connect to a healthier you. This is your balanced life. And one of the things I like to do in the afternoon is to have a great cup of coffee. So, having said that, did you know that average coffee goes stale after 8 to 12 weeks after being roasted? So the coffee you are drinking may be close to stale, if not already there by the time you purchase it and brew it. My guest today, Adrianne Meyer, is the co-founder of Bandit Coffee, one of the first companies to use a nitro proprietary packaging to preserve the freshness and aroma after the beans have been roasted. Bandit beans are sourced from Peru, shade-grown, organic, and fair trade. Adrianne also loves the challenge of taking a simple concept and product and building a story from it. She always loved coffee and found it to be such a part of her everyday routine. So when the opportunity rose to have a business in the industry, she grabbed it. Adrianne admits starting a new brand can be challenging at times, but has learned to love the process, and we're going to discuss that process. So to talk all about the coffee business, her passion of brand building, and the health benefits of coffee, please welcome my guest, Adrianne Meyer, to the show today. Welcome, Adrianne.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I want to tell our audience that if you have a question about coffee or anything that Adrianne and I are discussing today, to call in. The number here is 323-284-7826. Or you can go to my Facebook page, which is Fit by Design, or Adrianne's Facebook page, Bandit Coffee, and become part of the conversation by making comments. And we will get back to you after the show. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah, we talked about this. I have your coffee.
Right.
I got it at a little event that I met you at.
Mm-hmm.
You had a table set up, and I went right over because I'm a coffee lover, and started talking about the sourcing and all of that of your coffee, which gave, all of a sudden my ears perked up.
Right.
It was so much interest to me. So I want to kind of start from the beginning, and then we'll get into all of the minutia of it. But I want to know where you're from and what your background is and how that got you and led you to this passion for the coffee business.
How I got here.
Yeah.
So my name is Adrianne. All my close friends and family, though, call me Addie. So
they do?
You're more than welcome to call me
Addie.
that, too.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I'm originally from a really small town in Kansas called Hanover, Kansas. It's about 600 people, right on the Kansas-Nebraska border.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Only 600
Yeah,
people?
there was 21 people in my graduating class. And my first day of college, I went to KU. The biggest hall had 1,000 people in it. And I remember sitting there being like, there's more people in my Psych 101 class than there is in my entire town.
That's
yeah.
insane.
But I think too, that's
Wow.
what's kind of, I don't want to say kept me humble, but that conversation I've said every time when I meet people in LA, because people don't really know about towns of 600 people,
No.
and they're very interested in it. So, I'm from Hanover, Kansas. I reigned from there. And
why'd you leave? What was the precipice?
Long story. If I'm being honest, all my friends were getting married and having babies, and I was like left alone there. And I'm like, what do I do? Everyone's like, I felt like I wasn't catching up, and I was like, all right, I want to go on an adventure. So I actually moved to Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay.
And that's where I met my boyfriend Freddie, and who's my business partner as well. I met him. Yeah,
Yes.
you met that day as
Yes.
well. I met him there, and I was kind of at a point where I have a very long sales and marketing background. So taking brands, creating a story behind it, and pushing product with that. And so I always knew that I wanted to have my own brand or support my own company. And Freddie kind of the same. And so we kind of came into this opportunity where we knew we wanted to start a business. It was perfect timing. And we had a family member that was actually in the coffee industry as well. And he was like, you guys, and this was, almost 4 years ago. So if you think coffee's booming now, back then it was just, it was popular, but having these like brick and mortar type of coffee shops or coffee brands wasn't as popular back then.
No.
And so we're like, okay, we have to do it. And we have to get in now.
I think, all of that is so popular right now also because a lot of people work at home. Have a lot of entrepreneurs out there. And so they go into these shops. Most of them, pretty much all of them, have Wi-Fi.
Right.
They bring their computers, they put on their headsets, and they're off in their own world, and they have this wonderful aroma of coffee and the machines working with the baristas. It's a culture, really.
It
right?
is, and that's what attracted it to us. And we both kind of had those jobs before where we were either working for ourselves or on our own schedule. So I think, too, that was what attracted us to the business, was that culture. And well, why can't we create that for somebody? Like, okay, this coffee shop's cool, but I could do it better. That's where we kind of started that conversation at. And I kind of come from the side where it's like the sales and marketing, and he's very much more like the analytics and the data and the nitty gritty, not the fun stuff. I'd say. So we like complement each other very well in that.
To combine that. So that was like 4 years ago. So how did you how long did it take for you to come up with a name, a brand, and really cultivate and get your coffee going?
So the name was the easiest part. I remember we were driving in Scottsdale one day, and I remember saying like, I was talking about hype words, like words I really, really, really liked. And the word bandit just came out, and we're like, bossless bandits, like bandits. And it just kind of stuck. And so then we kind of, test marketed it with our friends. And we're like, what do you think of the word bandit? And they're like, oh, that sounds really cool.
I think it denotes like run away. Like this coffee is off the grid. It's running away. It's running, it's making strides.
And it kind of fit like the area that we were in at that time. And for all of you that haven't been to Arizona or even like the West, like it felt like the coffee industry kind of was the Wild West, and being in Scottsdale and having that like bandit feel. But what it ended up becoming was that when we thought of the word bandit, it was like someone that's off the grid, someone that does things a little bit different than the normal way. And that was us. Like that resonated so much. And we looked at the coffee industry, and, I never like to name any names because I think all coffee is great and I love trying all coffee. But we looked at some of the other brands and we're like, well, I don't fit in with that, or I don't fit in with the music they're playing, or I don't fit in with the type of person that they're going after. And I felt like there needed to be something created for the badasses in the industry. I'm like, that's what we need to do.
Bandit Coffee. Love it.
And so we kind of just ran with it, and we've been doing that. And the feedback that we get from people, I think, is the coolest part. When people say, I love your name, it's like, who doesn't like that compliment? Like, you don't hear people go in another place like, oh, I love the name of your, that's probably owning a business. That's one of the coolest things you can hear. And it's such a compliment because you
Absolutely. You're identified with that. That's your brand. You're identified. That's who you are.
Exactly.
So how long did it take you came up with the name, but then you had to go figure out how to source and package and sell? How did that all work?
So it kind of just all flowed in there. Like I said, we had a family member that was in the coffee creamer business. And so he kind of helped lead the way, at least give us the knowledge of what's good and what's not good. And so we knew, okay, well, if we're going to start coffee, it has to be different and it has to be better than anyone else's in order to kind of make a stamp, because everyone's going to tell you, oh, well, I drink this down the corner, So we had to have something different. So the things that were important to us were it had to taste good. It had to taste good without creamer. And a lot of people, when they say, oh, I don't drink coffee because I don't like the taste of it, I was like, all right, well, I don't have to deal with that question anymore. Like, I want someone to drink it that doesn't like coffee and be like, oh, all right, well, this is pretty good. So we found that, and there's coffee from all across the world. And as we're coming out with new products, we're going to feature more of those. But we felt like for the first starters, we wanted a basic coffee that just tasted good was organic. That was important to us, to have quality. And we saw.
And we're going to talk about that today.
And so we just found that there was this farm in Peru, high altitude, shade grown, which produces a lower acidic bean. So in turn, you have no acid reflux. You don't have that yucky feeling in your stomach after you have one cup. You could literally drink a whole pot of coffee and not feel like you have to go to the bathroom or have a stomach ache or anything, or have to take a heartburn.
Feeling. Yeah.
And so
lovely.
Right, exactly. And so literally it like checked all it checked all the boxes for us. And so we're like, right, that's it. And so we actually started with the ground coffee, but then we got into the instant coffee, and that ended up being our
that's
gold
one
mine.
Of your best sellers.
And we didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all.
If you have a huge, this is where because I was thinking about this when I was doing the research last night. Why would instant coffee, when there's such a culture around brewing and making foam and all of this? Why would that? And I think because we're busy, especially millennials are busy. I'm more of the baby boom age who drinks a slower cup. But you guys are on the run a lot, and I think this makes there are no good instant coffees out there.
No, there's not.
Just you have to think of the old Maxwell House stuff,
right?
And it's gross,
Well,
so
the old instant coffee, if anyone else has tried it, or even if you see it in the store, like next time you're in the grocery store, grab a jar and look at it. It looks very crystallized.
Yes.
And nothing about that is appealing.
Well, it's processed.
Exactly. It's not
which
safe.
Means that now we have chemicals involved.
Exactly. So ours was a little bit different. Ours was Swiss water processed. It was put through, you brew it, and it's put through a huge tube and air dried. So when it comes down, it's this powder consistency. And right there, I was like, oh, well, there's the difference.
That's
like
the difference.
That's what's cool. And when we're like presenting to, businesses or new vendors or people that are interested in co-packing, we don't even have to say anything. We're just like, hey, okay, look at it. Like you can tell the difference instantly when you look at it. Yeah. But then when you taste it,
it's just a hands down difference. Amazing. That's so great. So then, so you got your beans, you have your source, you have that, and then you created your design, got your packaging, and then what happened? How did you?
And then we sat there and we're like, okay, what are we good? We got to make this happen.
You got a brand.
What are we going to do with it?
You got to sell it.
And so that has been the funnest part because there's no right way to do it and there's no wrong way to do it. And each brand is different. And neither Freddie or I were a celebrity, so we knew, okay, well, we're not going to get like a celebrity endorsement off of this. We literally we'll have to figure this out. So we first started on social media strictly. We had a website. We created it all of ourselves. Like when I show people our social media and our website, I'm so proud of it because I'm like, I don't care what this looks like. We created this. Like we didn't pay anyone to do this.
It's from the heart.
Exactly.
It's got so much integrity and honesty about it.
And from like the packaging design, we had, a guy from Nebraska that I knew design it. So it's like every little piece to our puzzle, like it meant something. It wasn't like we knew the name of the person that made it, and there was so much heart attached to it. And so we like got to the drawing board. We're like, all right, so we're gonna get on social media because that's popular, and we're just gonna hit our friends and our family and the groups around us in our community, and that's how we're gonna start this outreach. And so we did that.
How long ago?
Oh, that was the first year. So 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah, you said 2016.
The first summer we did farmers markets every weekend.
Smart, really smart. How did that go? Because
it went
farmers
so
markets are early usually, start early. People are drinking their coffee, coming, and they see organic. I mean, this is the way I was drawn to you.
And we were at the Malibu farmers market, so we had a
good one,
good crowd. And I think any farmers market, if you can get plugged, if you're a new business and you can get plugged into your local farmers market, I feel like it's such an untapped thing right now because people want to go there. They're looking for something to do and they want to support local family-owned businesses. And we checked all the boxes for them.
Yeah.
And so we did that. It was so hard. It's so much hard work. We would wake up at like 5:30 in the morning on Sundays. And we would load up the truck and we would drive all the way up to Malibu. And we had these like 100-pound tents and these like 100-pound cinder blocks to put it down. And we would sit there all day till 3:00 and then you'd be done. Yeah. And I remember, and you'd tell the same story over and over again. But that was so great for us because we got our elevator speech down quick.
Yes.
And, that was my whole thing. And so that was really fun for me to watch Freddie be in my playing field and like see how he did.
Yeah.
But it was awesome because every time someone would walk by, be like, okay, next time this is what you should do. Or next time, like we'd tag team with each other. And
it's a learning
curve.
Exactly.
It's
a whole learning
And you
thing.
meet other entrepreneurs that are in the business as well. And that's that's how we got here. Like,
Yes.
networking with other entrepreneurs too is the best thing that you can do for your business because
you help each other thrive.
Exactly.
That's what we're all about.
Because what's not good for you might be good for somebody else. And it's like, just spread the love.
So true.
Because it'll come back.
In many, many genres. That's very true
Yes.
in many ways. So, and now you have 3 different blends, right? What are they?
So we have our espresso roast, which is called Blackjacks. And we kind of wanted to, all of the names have, you can kind of feel like the Bandit feel off of them, but Jax is our dog's name. So we kind of tied that in there. The medium roast is called the Outlaw. And then the instant coffee is called the 8-second ride.
Oh, that's funny.
And then we also have
so
a
cute.
cold brew.
Okay.
And so we've done like seasonal blends as well. We've done a peppermint blend. We've done coconut blends. But like I said, we just wanted to do this basic, good coffee. And we weren't going to quit till it was done right. And it really got out there. And so that's what we focus on because we're not out to compete with your flavors or anything like that. We just want people to have a good cup of coffee.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you have a good goal in mind too. So, and you're talking about you talk about selling and getting your brand out there and co-branding. What do you mean by that when you say co-branding?
So the co-packing
the
part of it,
co-packing.
So that actually just fell into our lap within the last 6 months. What we realized was a lot of people were coming to us and saying, "Hey, I really like what you're doing, but I'm trying to start my own brand. Do you have any advice?" And they were having a problem with the beginning stages that were so easy to us, like finding
Because
the
of your
packaging.
school backgrounds.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and finding the packaging, finding the design, finding the product. And so we're like, okay, this is an untapped market for us. So we started getting into that avenue of
like consulting business?
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So that's
and
the
so
co-branding
people
part of
come
it.
to us
Okay.
and they say, "Hey, this is our name and we want to sell coffee, but we're looking for a really quality product. Can you help us?" And we're like, 100%. And so we help
good.
them kind of with that process of what that looks like to find a supplier, to find a farmer, to find that product. So that's been really gratifying as well because I
Yes.
get to come in on that side of like the brand building and be like, "All right, let's do this. Like I've walked in your shoes before. Let me help ease the way a little bit."
And the entrepreneurship thing is so hard. We have to work together. We have to try to help each other with what we know and our knowledge because they're helping you as well. It's a reciprocal thing.
Right.
It's just they're coming to you for initial jumpstart, but they've got all these little things and these little antidotes that can help you excel.
And I remember hearing that when we first started out. It's like such a cliche thing. If you're out there and you're trying to start a business right now, I bet you've heard it a million times. Like, "Oh, find people around you." But I can't say that enough until you're in those shoes. Like, really pay attention to the ones that are out there with you starting businesses because they can help you.
Yeah. And they're the ones that have a lot of the answers that we're
Right.
like, scraping to find and you're searching the internet and driving ourselves crazy.
Exactly.
But if we can find the entrepreneurs by going to these things, places
Right.
at farmers markets and networking events and things like that, I mean, it's just a great place to really network and market
Exactly.
yourself. So I know we have some coffee here, and as we
Yes.
pour it, because I get to taste it because it's that time of day, but as we pour it, I want to talk about the health benefits of coffee because we're a health show. So or I'm a health show, and a lot of my clients want to keep coffee in their life, but they're nervous about it because it could have something to do with a brand that isn't so healthy for them, and they know that everything that we just talked about, they're nervous about if they're trying to kind of change and shift gears to a healthy, more self-care lifestyle. So let's talk about. We know now organic is always the best way to go, which means there's no outside processing or chemicals involved.
Correct.
It's clean. It's a clean source. What are the benefits of coffee itself once it's brewed?
And so let's take this in mind too. When we're saying coffee, we're not
taste.
talking about
Cheers.
We're not talking about, okay, you have your coffee, now put a whole bunch of creamer in it. Like we're talking about straight black coffee.
I'm having fun.
It has so many antioxidants in it, and it's so good for gut health, but it's also can be a natural source of caffeine. And although caffeine has a lot of negative stipulations and, connotations to it, I think what people need to remind themselves is everything's good in moderation,
That's right.
So I think too, like a very hype thing right now is either the keto diet or intermittent fasting. And if you really read into those, coffee pairs right well into that, you know?
Right.
So it's always such a great way to get your day started just because it gets the body going, it gets your mind going.
It does.
But it doesn't compromise any of your gut health either. So
Yeah,
great for weight loss. I think that's always a popular one people like to hear. But that is, like I said, if you're not covering it with all those nasty plastics and creamers. And now there's so many healthy
really
additives.
Important. We need to say that again. So here we have a great organic source, clean source of coffee right here. If you're going to put anything in it, you got to look at the source from that too.
Right.
Like for me, I sweeten my coffee with a little bit of stevia. And maybe a little bit of the kind of almond milk that you buy that's actually 100% squeezed from the almond milk. It's almonds and water. That's it. And I put that in my coffee, and I'm so happy.
Right.
But if you're going to put milk and you have problems with dairy then you're not going to get the benefits that the coffee can give you. You're going to get more of the deterrence of the things that you're going to get the what's the word I'm looking for? The problems that the things that the chemicals of all the additives are.
And it's such a great way to like pair within things. Like before we were just talking about putting it into recipes. Like we've been exploring like our instant coffee, like in tiramisu or in baking. But also like yesterday morning, Freddie made his coffee, but he blended it with protein powder and collagen. And so it was like not only was he getting his coffee to get his day started, but he's also getting his protein in, he's getting his collagen in, and it was almost became a meal. Another favorite product that we really like is Laird Superfood Creamers. And I can put the link below in the comments, but that's got healthy amino acids in it. And he has different flavors. They have mushroom, cacao, like so many great additives. And that's what we're seeing is a lot of brands are recognizing like, hey, your coffee mates, like that's not the way, even though they're great and they taste good, there's other ways to make great tasting coffee. Like you're forgetting what it's about. And I think it kind of goes back to the whole culture thing. Like we're taught for so long, mask your coffee because you want it to taste like a coconut. And it's
put
like
in 12 packs of sugar. And the heavy cream thing, well, it's the source of the heavy cream. Be careful where your source is. Not so bad, actually.
Right.
But what's in that heavy cream before you put it in? But that's actually better than putting in these fake half and half cream things.
Exactly,
and stuff
the little
like
packets of stuff.
That they keep it, in an office at in a basket. Or
exactly. It's like, how long has that been out there? I mean, is it the last time Susan went to Costco, which was like 2 months ago? I mean, you just don't.
Yeah, and even
know.
still, in the pack, you don't know how long it's been in the package from the manufacturer, nor do you know what's in that, what the chemicals are that are in there themselves. So that destroys this perfectly good cup of coffee. We're right now, let's talk a little bit because we're down to a last couple of minutes. Really quickly, let's talk about how you stand out in a saturated market.
Right. So I think what makes us a little bit different than everybody else is that we genuinely have good tasting coffee. And it sounds very simple, but until you taste other coffee, and we've all had a bad cup of coffee, when you taste it, you'll know the difference. Okay. And that's what I tell everyone. And I think if you have a good product, that is how you stand out in the market because not only does it stand out to your consumers, but to yourself, you realize you're like, all right, well, I've got a good product and no one else's product is better than mine. I think the other thing is that we have the confidence of it. We know that we're one of the best coffees on the market.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
And so when you have that confidence as well, that also kind of elevates you in the market.
That's
when you're talking about it. Yeah.
Well, your passion, your honesty is your integrity.
And it spreads.
And you can see it in your face. Yeah. Your enthusiasm. When I met you, I saw it and it's here today too. So where can people get Bandit?
Right. So the best place to find it would be on our website, www.banditcoffeeco.com. You can follow us on Instagram. It's bandit.coffee. And then our Facebook is Bandit Coffee. And that's honestly the best place to get it. You're going to be seeing us pop into a few exciting places this year. We are.
Can you divulge?
I cannot.
Oh,
I
no,
cannot.
it's this big
We have
secret.
a very big meeting in Vegas
Okay.
next month. And then we're working on a really big project in the Midwest. So I'm hoping that if you follow along on our social media, you know what? Bandit Coffee might just be coming to your favorite store or area.
Oh, good. That's what I was
Yep,
going to say.
yep.
So that is the future. Any other big things that we should know about in the future, big plans?
Our main goal is to do everything that encompasses what a bandit is. So a bandit to us is a badass, someone that goes off the territory, off the route, a little bit different than everybody else. And really, that's what you'll see us doing. And those are the places that you're going to see us being. And that's the crowd you're going to find us in. So just follow us along on social media, because I think you're going to like what you say.
People will be very happy.
Yes.
So there you have it. I was going to ask you for final words, but you just said it, and what your mission is here. So this is lovely. I'm so glad we met, because I think people struggle with coffee because they want it in their lives, but they don't think they're going to be healthy. And you gave them the way.
You know what? So, if you have any questions, comment to both of us, and we'd be happy to answer those. And like I said, if you
keep the conversation going.
Exactly. If you're scared because you had a bad experience with coffee, message me. I will send you a bag of coffee. You can try it.
There you go. There you go. You heard it here. So I have to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for my coffee.
Yes,
cheers, everybody.
cheers.
Coffee. Check out Bandit Coffee. And thank you for joining us. Do go to the Facebook page, make a comment, get involved. We love having conversations after the fact. So just remember, thank you for joining me today. And remember to keep finding ways to connect to a healthier you. Bye, everybody. See you next week. Thank you.